Hello, everyone. It is so good to see all of you today, Sunday morning. It's a nice, bright, and beautiful morning. And we are here having a coffee table conversation on what is leadership, right? And it would be great if we can start by introducing ourselves. So, Vishnu, do you want to go first?
Okay. I'm a software engineer working for the state of Pennsylvania in the Environment Protection Department. I'm married with two kids, and I'm pretty much involved in a lot of social service. Over to Vinay.
Okay, thank you, Vishnu. Hi, my name is Vinay. I'm based in the Bay Area. In fact, my wife is on the call, Monica. So we've been married for a few years now. We have a daughter, and so it's as everyone else. I'm an engineer by training. I work at a large tech company here. Been in the industry for around 10 plus years. Work in the cloud networking space. I'm a cloud architect. Thanks. Over to you, Monica.
Yeah, thanks, Vishnu and Vinay. My name is Monica, and I'm also an engineer, software engineer by background, and live in the Bay Area. Vinay and I, we have a 17-year-old daughter, so it's a pretty busy household at this point. And outside of my job, I'm also very passionate about personal development. I work with a lot of young folks, and I have had opportunities to mentor and coach them in this personal development space. So it's exciting, and always looking to make things better. So yeah.
Wonderful. So,
So
yeah.
So Vishnu, I wanted to ask you, since we are going to talk about this topic on leadership, um, why do you think, leadership is important? And even like before that, what does leadership even mean to you? I would like to
Lovely.
know that.
Sure. So, we have all kinds of leaders. Some are like left or some are right. And Sri Ravi Shankar rightly explains that it's a combination of both the left and the right hand. When both of the two hands meet, then it becomes together. So for me, it's a combination of extreme, like like people who are leaders, like they're very enthusiastic and they are very aggressive. On the other hand, people who are not so aggressive, they are kind of a loser. So it's a combination and mix of both.
I see. Interesting.
So what does Vinay mean to you?
Yeah, definitely. This is one of my favorite topics, actually, leadership. To me, actually, if I would like to spell leadership, I would like to spell it as influence and inspiration. It's a combination of both. But I feel that inspiration comes first because a leader is somebody who inspires others by his thoughts, his words, his actions, and his attitudes. And if that is not there, then you are in a leadership position, you can be a positional leader and people listen to you because you are in that position. But true leadership, in my opinion, is standing up for some values, some cause, and pursuing it, because you believe in it full time, 100%. And that is what inspires people. That to me is leadership. And before we lead other people, it's important that we lead ourselves, and that is the key. Because and one another misconception I feel that I had personally about leadership is that it's a talent. It's not a talent, it's a skill, and which means anybody can develop it, right, over a period of time. If you are hanging around with the right people who have the right heart and the right mindset, I feel that anybody can acquire leadership. So what do you think, Monica? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very broad topic, and I feel everybody has different views about leadership. The way I view leadership is a little different. I mean, in terms of, you don't, it is age agnostic, anybody who has the ability to inspire someone to do something that is bigger than themselves. I feel, that is a part of leadership. I'll give you a very recent example. So it's about a group of high school kids. Okay, and these high school kids, they had this homecoming event at school, and they wanted to make this huge float. It's like a big billboard, and they wanted to make it like the most beautiful float in the school. And they came together, they came up with some ideas, and they started to work on it. And it was not that they were going to get good grades for it, or they were going to get paid for it. It was just something that they wanted to do it for the school. They wanted to create a great experience for everybody else in the school who came for that event. And they were really inspired to do that. And I saw that the second thing that I saw was that these kids were committed to that event, and they put in a lot of hard work. And they did not really care about if they had to eat their lunch or dinner, or they didn't care about any hardships. They had to figure out a lot of things. Late night when they were working, lights went off. It didn't bother them, because they were really committed to that. And they had a vision to make it like the most beautiful thing. So I feel that leadership is when all these three things come together, like your inspiration, your commitment to do something greater than your own self, and a vision that you have. I think when these three things come together, that is leadership. And towards the end of it, a lot more kids joined the group, and it was like a movement, and parents started to contribute, grandparents started, so everybody was inspired, and there was so much of positive energy around. And I feel that is leadership at that level. So yeah, I mean, what do you think, Vishnu? Like, why do you think leadership is important?
Yeah, I mean, see, in this fragmented world, if we see that if we do not have a proper leadership, we don't leave a legacy. It'll be like a nomadic people, where people are animals, like where they don't know each other and they are disconnected. So for me, it's like legacy and having a better future for our everything. And even seeing problems, we cannot solve it alone until unless we give some kind of a unity, and a unity demands a leader. So I feel it's very important.
Those are some really good thoughts, Vishnu. Let me share what I think about it, right? Why it is important, why leadership is important. I feel that, to the core of our, being, right? Everybody believes in some values and principles. Some people believe in it strongly. Some people are just forming that belief. Some people are assertive enough about it that they try to lead others in that. But most people are not that way, right? Most people don't have that assertiveness, right? So I feel that the leadership is important for anyone and everyone, because if you believe in a cause, then if you're not able to communicate that and actually put across that point in a decent way, where you can actually inspire people that, hey, this is a great cause and you should follow us for that, you can't push people into it. You have to pull people into it, right? And when you pull people, they get pulled because they know that you stand for these values, no matter whether they do it or not. And that is missing to a large degree in our society. We see certain countries having great leaders, and they are great for a certain reason. So that is one aspect of why I feel leadership is important. The other aspect, I believe, is more often time not, people think leadership is about having a position and telling people what to do. That's managing people. That's not leadership, right? While that is needed in a certain structure, you can't discount that fact. But also what is important is leadership is really bringing out the best in each other's, right? Where nobody works for anybody. We all work together, and bringing out the best in everybody is the key. And only a person who has a heart for people and who has an attitude of servitude towards others, servant leadership, is where it starts. And I think that is why it is so important that, and to Vishnuji's point, right? He said you have to leave a legacy. Well, how do you leave a legacy? You can't do it by yourself, right?
Correct.
One, I've heard from my mentors outside of my corporate career. I've had the privilege to hang out with a lot of successful business owners who have built large organizations. And what they have told me is, that's a very game-changing thought that I had, is one is too small a number to achieve significance of any kind. And it has to be a movement about a cause. The cause cannot be about you, and the cause has to be about something much larger than what you have, today. So that's why I feel that leadership is so important for everybody in society, right? So that kind of leads us to segue into this another question that is gets a little bit more personal towards us now, right? Where why do we consider, why does each one of us consider ourselves as effective and efficient leader, right? Do you have any thoughts on that, Vishnuji?
Yeah. So I was a kind of a person who was very insensitive. I was only focused to job and nothing else. Even if any person used to ask me for directions, I won't care. But I did this 3 days of meditation program, and it really changed my life. I experienced a lot of uh, anger, anxiety went away. I became much more centered. I became more sensitive to people. And all these days, I mean, after that, I've been feeling that how come I spent so much of my time wasting on other things? I wish I had taken this program. And in a way, this centeredness has brought me a great leadership. People are very happy to be around. That's how I feel it's very game changer for me.
That's awesome. Monica, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I feel leadership is important because it's a responsibility. Because if you cannot inspire anybody, then everybody around you is dragging their feet and there is no energy, right? And about me personally, I have seen that I can get inspired in spurts. Like I can read a good book, I can listen to some great talk, and I feel inspired and I can do that. But the question is, how long can you carry that inspiration? And that's where there is a difference, right? For some people, they wake up every day to some inspiration, and some people do not, right? And for me, that was the second part, was the thing, right, where I couldn't be inspired for a long enough time to create an impact. And I feel the reason why I couldn't be inspired long enough was stress. Because see, stress shows up in many ways. Like, stress will show up in form of anxiety, in form of fear. For some people it is anger, some people it is inertia, and all of these things kind of kill your inspiration and your commitments. And that is how it was for me before. And then when I started practicing the sky breath yoga, that is when I started to feel the difference. Some of the shifts started to happen where, while I'm working on an inspired goal, I was more present. I was not anxious about the future or the result. And it I can see that it just kind of brings me more into the present moment. And then when you're in the present, you're more happy, you're more joyful, everybody wants to be around you. And it kind of it's all connected. That's what I feel. So that's how I have seen in my leadership the differences, like how things were pre the sky breath program, and then how things have started to change later. But yeah, I mean, I feel it's a personal responsibility, because when you take that responsibility of making yourself better, it kind of compounds.
Yeah, those are nice thoughts. I can share my perspective on why the pre and post differences, right? So here's the thing, right? I mean, Monica can vouch for this more than anybody in this world, right? Because we've been married for a few years now. And being a person who tries to be a perfectionist every single time, I thought it was a great thing. I think that is something that I think perfectionism is the lowest standard, in my opinion, because you're trying to be perfect all the time. That's not going to happen, right? And you know what that led me to do was no empathy about people, because ruthless at times, right? Where you can be, how can you make that mistake? That's exactly opposite of what I said, how to bring out the best in people. Everybody has different strengths. So perfectionism led me to lack of empathy, which led me to have too many expectations from people. And when you have too many expectations, you can be, one thing you are guaranteed about is you'll have impatience, and that over a period of time translates into a little bit of annoyance, if you will. You get annoyed at people, you're annoyed, and then people get that vibe around you, and then that leads to frustration for you as well as people around you, right? And that is a cycle. That's a vicious cycle. And in order to even recognize that, right, leadership is as much of leading others as it is about leading yourself, right? And leading self means going within and actually understanding that you have a blind spot, and people may not tell you because they like you or love you too much and they don't want to break that relationship. But going within and just recognizing that you are tending towards these your tendencies are towards this kind of a behavior itself is a big win, which never happened to me before, right? So getting back that patience, reducing the anger, reducing the impatience and working on yourself more, and then being impatient with yourself rather than with other people, and automatically somehow things start getting better around you. The anger, the tempo kind of goes down a little bit, and everybody can perform in a better environment. That's why I feel that and a lot of that happened after I did my Sky Yoga course, and that made me realize that there's a lot of growing to be done, and everybody is in a different journey. Everybody has good strengths and weaknesses. It allows us to enhance our strengths, identify our weaknesses, and give us a chance to work on it if we have the self-discipline to do it, right? Nobody can make you do it, but the fact that you have a platform that allows you to do it is awesome, right? So back to you, Monica.
Yeah, I think it's a great way, to look within yourself first. And, there is an upcoming event coming up. It's a national event. It's happening on December 4th through 6th. And I think it's a great opportunity for a lot of people who want to improve their leadership, who want to work on themselves, who want to create a positive impact on their environment. I feel it might just be a great start to the New Year's. So what do you think, Vishnu?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was like, what can I do for others? So this is really an absolute must for the present day. Yeah.
Yeah. Some of my thoughts on that, right? Like Monica said, right? We are what, November 21st right now. Before you know it, it was, the pandemic started in March 2020. It's been almost 2 years now in a few months that the pandemic is on, right? So time goes by like that, right? And so every time I think about a new year approaching, I always think about a flight taking off. When a flight takes off, it reverses, it backs up on the runway, and it has to attain a certain speed for it to take off. That's called the runway, the ramp speed. You have to attain a certain speed. And if you look at 2022 as flying in the air, I believe that these 6 weeks that are upcoming should be treated as a ramp or the runway, which can lead you to that. And it's not going to happen. It's not digital, it's analog. Our minds are analog in nature. It takes time to switch to certain habits. 6 weeks is a great amount of time to build some new habits, recognize certain things. And if somebody takes advantage of a course like this, I think it would be only a matter of time that 2022 will be a very different year for each one of us. And I think we need, as a personal responsibility, the world has gone through enough and we need every one of us to step up and take personal ownership and collectively uplift everybody, right? So that's what I feel.
Yeah, wonderful. Great thought. It was really great chatting with you all. It just gives such a different perspective and builds up the excitement also. So it's always a collective effort, right? So it was great chatting with you too today.